here at Rolling Hills Community Church, and it is our honor to welcome you here to host this event. But it is also our greatest honor to pray for this event. So if we could join me by bowing our heads and praying in this moment. Lord Father, we are thankful for the voices echoing across this room, Lord, because we know that everyone in this room, we have the great privilege of living in one of the best places on planet Earth, Lord. And we live here because you blessed us so much that we're allowed to live here, Lord. But this place is such a great community because you created the people that are working every day to make this an amazing community. So I'm so thankful for everybody represented in this room whose daily task is to toil for the good of the people in this area and for the good of the area for the future, Lord. We are so thankful for this great area and the good that's continually being done by these individuals, Lord. I pray a blessing on them. I pray a blessing on this event today, Lord. May you be glorified, Lord. I pray that you remind everyone in this room how much you love them, how much you care for them, Lord, and that you love us all, even on our worst day, as much as you do on our best day. I pray you bless the event, bless this day, and we give you the glory. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Thanks so much, Jacob. It's great to be here this morning for Breakfast with the Mayors. I'm Mindy Tate, CEO at Franklin Tomorrow. And hey, remember when we were praying and we were all quiet? Let's do that now. Let's keep that up. All right, that sounds better. If you got to have a conversation, you can go out in the hallway. And I'm serious. I'm very serious. Oh, it should work now. Okay, great. So welcome to Breakfast with the Mayors. As I said, I'm Mindy Tate, CEO of Franklin Tomorrow. I'm literally going to make you leave the room. We're here to celebrate today and have a good time, and we want to hear lots of applause and laughter and cheering, but we got to be able to be heard and be in the back of the room. So we appreciate you being here today. This is Peggy Kidd, our board chair, and we're going to go through a quick few thank yous before we get started.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see you. You never know about a summer session, but today is a big day, and we have a couple celebrations, so thanks everybody for coming. First of all, we'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Gresham Smith, Pinnacle Financial, and Ascension St. Thomas. And I think for your viewing pleasure, we have a video for Ascension St. Thomas. So let's pause and take a look at that.
All right, Taylor, are we going to play that video? Okay, Taylor. All right, we'll move on and come back to that, and we will come back to that. Ascension has been a great partner for us this year. We also want to thank our 2025 sustaining partners, who include Atmos Energy, Williamson Health, and finally, Pape Dawson. Please give all of our sponsors a round of applause. And behind me, you can see all of our partners and Peggy, you want to tell us about a few of those?
Of course. Thank you to G Fiber, Hazen and Sawyer, UHY Audit Advisory and Tax Consulting, and Burr Foreman. So thanks everybody for your support. Without you, we wouldn't be here together and enjoying fine food and coffee and camaraderie.
And finally, we'll thank First Bank, Vulcan Materials Company, Vanderbilt Health, and Williamson Memorial Funeral Home and Cremation Services. And we have a new partner in Sim Financial Services. Guys, wave your hands, but thank you so much. And we really appreciate and love coffee that we have from Frothy Monkey, and our breakfast from Puckett's Grocery and Restaurant has been our longtime partner, and we appreciate their support. So give everyone a round of applause. I wonder if we can play that video now. Any chance of that, Taylor? Holler it out, Taylor. Huh? Oh, okay, Taylor. Well, you had it. Okay. All right, we'll come back to that. So, today we are celebrating. I hope you notice this looks a little different. We have some balloons, we've got some bunting. I hope you've got a sticker because today we are celebrating several things. But I would like to invite members of our All-America City team that went to Denver, as well as our city officials, to join me on stage. And hopefully we are going to play the city video as they come on stage. Okay, here we go.
Welcome, Franklin.
Hello, I'm Franklin City Administrator Eric Stuckey. In 2020, we were so honored to receive All-American City recognition for bringing people together. Then everything changed in our world, in our community, in ways we'd never imagined. But Franklin came through those challenging times stronger.
White supremacists once again making their presence known.
Posters linked to the hate group, the Patriot Front, were plastered in parts of downtown Franklin.
But it was Henson's association with white supremacists who showed up at a campaign event in a show of support for her that has captured national attention.
This is our foundation, the structural framework we built before the 2023 crisis. And since that challenge, we have seen growth and engagement through Franklin Tomorrow Breakfast with the Mayors, Frank Talks community surveys, Healthy Democracy Initiative, and the Youth Advisory Council formation.
This is our community center. It is forums and spaces specifically designed to build belonging for people who have historically been left out.
This is the town hall. It's our government institutions and our free press, the structural steel of democracy. When democracy is tested, government either constructs integrity or it doesn't, and we did.
This is our gathering place, where neighbors come together and continue building trust. It's the person next to you constructing community at a breakfast with the mayors. It's your neighbors building a shared understanding of the community.
This is our infrastructure, our surveys, our data, our feedback mechanisms, the accountability systems that transform resident voice into constructed policy. For a city without them is just a collection of unfinished intentions.
We're standing here today because Franklin believes that building a democracy for the next 250 years means constructing with the people that are going to inhabit it.
This is where our city continues to be constructed.
This community solves challenges together. This community doesn't shy away from difficult conversations. This community said no to hate and yes to civic engagement. The two-time All-American City of Franklin, Tennessee.
Every one of the cities represented here today inspired each and every one of us. But I heard a common theme is engage your citizens, listen to your citizens, serve your citizens, and activate your youth. Thank you so much for this honor, and thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
We won! So that is a little video compiled by the city celebrating the trip to Denver, and we're going to have a little conversation, but we'd love to start by Mayor. You want to recognize our special guest?
Well, absolutely, and how exciting it was to be in Denver, Colorado, competing with 20 other cities all across America. But today we have a special guest. We have Rebecca Trout, who's the director for All-American Cities for the National Civic League, and she's flown in from actually Tulsa, Oklahoma, but from Washington, D.C. So we're so proud to have you here with us today, Rebecca, and please say a few words about why this is even important for a city.
Absolutely. Hello? Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Rebecca Trout, and I run the National Civic League's All-America City Award. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. This is my 4th visit to Franklin, and every single time I come here, I meet someone new. I get a new glimpse of what makes this community so special. So thanks for having me here to recognize you all. A little bit about the All-America City Award. It started back in 1949. Famous pollster George Gallup was really trying to build some scaffolding and some understanding around what makes a local government and a local community tick, and how do we define what excellence in community building is. And so across those 77 years, we've recognized over 500 communities, and we're really focused on recognizing communities that are using civic engagement, collaborative problem solving to solve those local challenges specific to you, as well as to seize opportunities to keep moving forward. So each year we have a different theme. This year we're focused on recognizing communities that were strengthening civic health and building trust. And so Franklin first submitted their application all the way back in February. We got to hear about how you all responded when extremists tried to take over your local elections, your engagement infrastructure through events like this and Frank Talks and so many more, as well as how you're making sure that that civic pipeline doesn't run dry and you're continuing to empower youth and get them involved. So for those reasons, you all were invited to Denver. You got to see some of that on the screen, so I won't spend a ton of time on that. But it was a great weekend full of civic learning and pride. You all heard from national experts, learned from each other, other communities more importantly. Now we're going to take those ideas and we're going to spread them out to the country so that some of the wonderful progress that's happening here, some of the promising practices, as we like to call them, get spread out. And so I get to be with the jury every year as they are discussing what communities did to stand out and where there are still opportunities for growth. And I just want to share a few things that stood out to them about Franklin and about this team and about this community. So first, they loved that decisions here did not sort of rain down from the top from a couple of leaders, but rather they were backed by data. Shout out to Michael Walter Scott for the data, as well as backed by resident engagement. They were really impressed by the number of stakeholders and community partners, many of whom are in this room or sponsors of this event or put on engagement like Franklin Tomorrow. And then finally, they were blown away by your ability to both articulate the values of this community and stand up for them when those were threatened. So for those reasons, it is my pleasure on behalf of the National Civic League and this year's jury to recognize Franklin, Tennessee as a 2026 All-America City.
So if you'll sit there and Mayor sit down. Thank you all, and maybe have the youth stay on stage for a minute because we might ask them a question or two. I'd love to put them on the spot like we do sometimes, but thanks so much. Come on around. Anyone who wants to stay on stage can stay on stage. It would be great. So we had a wonderful experience in Denver, and this was, I would just say to Eric, this was not something we took up lightly, was it? Kind of explain the process of how we got started. It's on.
Yeah, well, we look at this every year because it is such an opportunity to not just tell your story, but learn from one another. And so we look at the different focus points. And so we've talked every year a little bit about how does that fit. And this year's theme really fit with both a challenging time, but a time that the community really stepped up. And this is not something to take for granted. This is a big deal. And you build this foundation over a long period of time, engaging people. We have over 380 people here today. That does not happen every place. So give yourselves a hand. So these foundations matter, whether it's what we do at the local level, engaging citizens, our public schools, all these elements really create a foundation. And then sometimes that foundation gets tested. And that's what we talked about.
And so it's not something we apply for every year, is it?
No, this is only the second time we ever did it. We did it in 2020, and that was in the heart of COVID, so that was bizarre. We did it virtually. So this is really the first time we did it, the full-blown in-person experience. So it is a great opportunity for us.
And Mayor Moore, and I guess maybe, so our students on stage today, we have Ratika Berton, Sophia Bailey, and Owen Johnson, and they are founding members of our Youth Advisory Council. And they went with us to Denver. And it was a great experience for us to have that time with them. But did we expect the opening ceremony to be as raucous as it was? Anybody got a comment about that? Maybe they're on, I think. That mic's on.
No, yeah, definitely not. When the energy there and the pride for each person's city was very surprising, but also, I think it was good to see that everyone was just so proud of what they had done in their application towards being an All-America City.
Mayor, how many presentations do you think, out of the 20, we probably watched 12 or
at least
15?
And I'm glad to report that my hearing is starting to come back from the enthusiasm and the noise that the other communities produced there that day. It was truly amazing, and the fact that the 20 cities that we were, or the entire 20 cities, had great things that they wanted to showcase that they were doing in their community. And it is such an honor for us to be a leader in so many things in our community, and it's an opportunity for us to share some of the practices that we've developed and some of the things that we've done to build our foundation. But as you mentioned, we were so proud to have our youth with us, part of our Youth Advisory Council, and I see a lot of young people here this morning, and we look forward to engaging with you to have your opinion registered as far as how this city moves forward, because we want it to be the place you want it to be when you grow up and come back to Franklin.
And I would just ask if Ratika, do you have a microphone, or Sophia can pass you a microphone? So we're recruiting for next year. Talk a little bit about what the Youth Advisory Council, what you're all hoping and looking to do in the coming school year as we recruit some additional students.
Yes, so after our first year, we are now recruiting and we are looking for high school members, rising freshmen through rising seniors. And what we do is we kind of give our input on the issues that the city as a whole is tackling. We work with Franklin Tomorrow, Ms. Mindy Tate, with Mayor Moore. We work with them, and when Mayor Moore has a topic that he is thinking about, we kind of give our input so that this community is built for all of us.
So, Sophia, you were on this year, and it's coming back. You're getting ready to leave us. Was this a good experience to launch you into college, and where are you headed? Tell us a little bit about that. But was this a good experience? Oh, I think it's on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. This was really such an incredible experience. The Youth Advisory Council gave me so many opportunities. I mean, I was able to go on a radio interview with the mayor, with Owen Johnson too. I was able to go to Denver, and through all of the foundation that it gave me for personal development, but also through the opportunities it gave me for different experiences, I was actually able to become a Haslam Scholar at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, which is a full ride scholarship.
And you're going to have a special activity that you'll be involved in at UT too. Tell us about that.
Yes, for you UT fans, if you know the Pride of the Southland marching bands, I will be on the football field there playing.
We're super proud of all of these students. Oh, and you met some students from, I think it was Riviera Beach, Florida. And what did y'all talk about? Y'all had some thoughts that we might be undertaking in the coming year.
Yeah, so we talked about, with the students from Riviera Beach, they had actually brought forth legislation in their county and city government on certain issues that affected the youth the most. And so I think looking at our Youth Advisory Council, that's something I would love to see us do in the next couple years, is be able to really have a voice and really showcase, our opinion on certain issues that are affecting the youth the most.
Now, we weren't the smallest delegation at 13 people in Denver. The largest was probably from Chelsea, Mass. Is that right? Chelsea, Massachusetts. They had over 60 people traveling with them and being part of their presentation. But Rebecca, tell us what the theme is coming up for 2027 so that people can understand what that opportunity is for us again.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, each year we have a different theme. We try to make it something that is relevant to a lot of communities across the country, that is top of mind. And so, what we're really going to be focusing on in 2027 is economic equality and how we can make sure that as development happens, as the economy grows, that everyone benefits from that, and that everyone has a say in those decisions. So, we're really looking forward to that theme and some of the best practices that are unearthed through that. But I really want to stress that while there is a new theme each year, the core principles have not really changed all the way since 1949. So we're going to be focused about civic engagement. We're going to be talking about stakeholder engagement, equity and inclusion, and impact are the four kind of criteria that are a through line throughout the entire process every year.
That's great, and we really appreciate that. And as I mentioned, there were there were 20 cities who all brought representation. It's not cheap to go to Denver, and part of that was really, this was not something we had our organization or the city had budgeted for. We could not have done this without our sponsors, and those included Atmos Energy, Ascension St. Thomas, Pape Dawson, Pam Lewis, Kathy Perry, Greg Fries, Lynn McAllister, and the All-American City League, when you're selected as a finalist, they do partner with Southwest to provide you with some vouchers, a small number of vouchers. But we had such great support from Southwest with a partnership we had established through Williamson Inc. That we were able to secure additional tickets, which allowed us to take our 3 youth with us to make that happen. We also had great support from Visit Franklin that helped us make connections for our Civic Action Fair. The mayor could get a new job as a carnival barker, okay? He was throwing those goo-goos and giving them away at our Civic Action Fair. It was great. And then also a big thank you to Gresham Smith, which partnered with us to be our receiving unit for all the things we shipped to Denver, but also more importantly, putting together this presentation that the 10 minutes that we had was a very difficult thing for all of us, and to get the timing right and get through it. Gresham Smith, their employees in Denver, 3 of them came and spent an afternoon with us and really gave us some tough love, I'm going to be honest with you. It was at the end, and we were 12 hours away, probably 12 hours away from presenting, but we made significant changes to our presentation and how we did it, and we do think that that was a factor in our being selected. Now, Rebecca, they're not in alphabetical order or rankings or anything, because you didn't announce us till the 9th position of 10. That was mean. That was really mean. But you planned it that way, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, I did. I was a little too concerned that Mayor Moore and Mindy were a little too big for their britches, and I needed to make sure that I wanted to make them sweat a little bit. So they were sitting right at the front row, and I was on stage waiting for them to be called, and I could just see them squirming the whole time.
So Eric, you weren't able to be with us. Tell your experience of watching and where you were.
Yeah, I served the last 3 years on the International City County Management Association, my professional association, ICMA's board. And my final board meeting was that same weekend. So I was there, I chair a couple committees, I had to do some things, new strategic plan for the organization, I could not miss it. So I excused myself from the board meeting to watch this and went into a little conference room. And it's probably good nobody checked on me, because I was having some moments watching it, because it was just very emotional, and our team did such a great job. And to just see them tell that important story in such a heartfelt way really touched me. All my other board colleagues were following it as closely as I was, and I can't tell you the flurry of texts and messages as we got this really, really important honor. So it was a great experience, and so proud of our team and of our community to tell this important story.
So thank you so much. Ascension has been a big partner for us this year, so we are going to play their video. It's ready now, they tell me. I see a big sign right there that says Ascension video ready, so we're going to do that. But thanks so much to these folks, and thanks, Rebecca, for coming to visit us. And she's wearing our competition shirt, too, so yay. All right, thanks so much, and we'll play that Ascension video now. Thanks.
They will say it's too hard, that it cannot be done. The obstacles are just too great to overcome, to which we will say, we are different. We are children of God, more powerful than we can imagine. We are missionaries, called by God to continue our century-long journey, bringing compassion and hope to those who need it most. We are visionaries, driven by our faith to reimagine the way health and wellness are brought to individuals and communities. The path is narrow, the challenge great, but if it is right, it can and will be done. With God and each other, nothing shall be impossible.
So that was one reason we're here to celebrate, but we gotta give somebody a good send-off now, don't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. You know, I got here at 7 o'clock and I couldn't find a parking spot, so I think I parked a couple of miles away.
Yeah.
Who's that important in Williamson County?
Well,
has anybody ever served 24 years as county mayor?
I don't think so. 30 years and almost 30 years total.
I'm trying to remember his name.
40 years total. What is his name? You know, you can say that at the end of the year because nobody will remember who he was then, will they? We're giving him a hard time, but this county wouldn't be the same without the strong leadership that we have had for all these years from Rogers Anderson. And while Rogers comes on stage and joins us, we're going to play a video that really sort of recounts that, and we'll get settled. And then these two are going to have a little chat. So we'll play the video. Thank you.
I'm thankful to know that the Williamson Health Team is committed to making our community stronger, healthier, and more welcoming for the thousands of residents who move to Williamson County.
There really has been no greater advocate for Williamson County and Williamson Health than Rogers Anderson. And we are very fortunate to have had him on our board for 38 years.
His presence in regards to the clinical effectiveness of Williamson Medical Center is incredible because he always thinks first about what's best for patients, for the people of Williamson County, for their health care, for our mission of why we're here.
When Rogers first came on the commission, the hospital was the current Williamson County Administrative Complex on West Main. Then they had moved out here, and that was a board decision. And Rogers has enjoyed watching this community hospital grow. Every expansion has brought its own set of yes to the community as it relates to health care. He has continued to serve on the board because he believes in this hospital.
He is an anomaly. He is a special board member. He leads with compassion, humility, respect, dignity. The first time I met the mayor was at an interview for this hospital. And Mayor Anderson asked me a question. He said, "What animal would you be if you could be an animal?" And right there, I started thinking to myself, this guy's different. I started thinking about what animal would Mayor Anderson be if he were an animal. He's got to be a lion because a lion shows such courage and such leadership. He's got a little bit of eagle in him because he can see things far away and has great focus. And he's also got a little bit of fox in him because he's a deep strategic thinker.
I think Rogers has the ability to sit in a meeting, and we've been in many meetings together, and remain silent until the time where he feels like he needs to interject a thought or a prompt to make sure we're discussing the right things.
He has added a stability to the board, a consistent experience that's been around for a long time. He has an incredible demeanor at working through very difficult issues.
To have him engage with other mayors around the state when we need help, to have him engage anytime I call him. As busy as he is, he picks up the phone every time. Incredible.
I think Rogers has been successful in his role because he's not about getting credit. Very much a humble and kind individual who wants to put others first.
I've been here a long time. You can tell by the gray hair. It has been an absolute joy to be a county commissioner and a mayor and a board of trustees here in our community, because I love it.
Rogers, I want you to know that you have impacted others in such a tremendous way. Your department heads, other county commissioners, and just citizens and businessmen and women in general. It's been a joy for me to sit on the sidelines and watch you do that, and I will forever be grateful for you keeping me on.
Rogers, good luck and good health in retirement. You've earned it. And don't be surprised if you see me on your phone calling on a regular basis.
You're my friend, you're my hero, you're my mentor, you're my confidant, and I want to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for everything you've done for the patients and people of Williamson County and for this great medical center. I love you for that.
So, we kind of left an empty chair. We could bring her up here, and that would be Diane Giddens, because she should kill me. But she could come up. But, Rogers, how important has Diane been to your career as a county mayor? When they start talking, you can go down. Go sit in that chair.
Well,
I know.
to answer
Sorry, I have to get her a mic. It's on.
To answer your question, although I'm considerable older than Diane, I was prompted to say that. Diane and I have been together not just 24 years as mayor, but also when I was a starting county commissioner. But she's actually trained 2 or 3 other county mayors, county executives. So what a job she's done. I think most of us would agree behind most men, there's a very successful woman making sure you do the right thing. Do I hear a bunch of amen, men?
Amen, amen.
And I'm forever grateful to her and for her ability to follow through, lead me in the right way. But I'd also be amiss, Minnie, if you don't mind me, to ask all of the staff that are here today. I'm not sure anybody's working. I hope you're not needing your car tags. But or if you're needing to balance the books, I see our budget director here. But if the staff within Williamson County would please stand, I would appreciate that. You know, I think Ken would admit this. When you're mayor, you're just out front, good or bad. I know I saw the Columbia city mayor here and some of the other mayors. You're just out front, man or woman, and the people behind the scenes are the ones who get it done for you. And so thank you very much. Now, with that being said, I get to steal the show just a second before I turn it over to Diane. I know Jay is here again, Sabrino, and Dr. Sam Bastian made a comment about a hero. Many of you may have been at the
Chamber.
State of the County. Jay, come up here, please. Come on, Jay. There he
He's in the
comes.
back of the room. Here
While
he comes.
Jay is making his way, at the State of the County, we had some boots of servicemen that had given it all. Gave it up. Jay lives in our community. Jay's a veteran.
Love you.
So, as you're having a seat, I want Jay to tell you what happened on a particular day. Ken and I both are Vietnam veterans. There are other veterans in this audience. Jay is my hero. Jay, you get a few minutes of my time, and I want you to tell it like you told it the other day.
Thank you, Mayor. Is this working?
Yeah.
Wow, I made this mistake twice. You got up on stage, and I had a perfect avenue out of here, and I didn't take it, and here I am, caught. But thank you for having me. I don't know what I'm doing up here, but I sat down with the mayor just yesterday, and we were just talking service and veterans and the overlap thereof, and a lot of y'all found out that I was a veteran for the first time just a few weeks ago, or maybe right now. And I run into people every single day that don't know that these two men are veterans every day. And it's just a neat little thing, and I never lead with my service or anything like that for multiple reasons, but I feel like it brings a lot to the table, and I think it should be highlighted. But what would you like me to dive into specifically?
Your day.
The Memories of Honor? Memories of Honor is a nonprofit here locally. And up at Fort Campbell, they had a boot display every Memorial Day where they had thousands of boots, and each one representing one life lost in combat since 9/11. And it grew to a space that they couldn't do it anymore. And Memories of Honor worked really, really hard for 2 years to retrieve all of these boots and then bring this back, bring this display back. And it was held right here in Franklin for the first re-annual, if you will. And it's very, very special to me just because I have many, many friends who are represented there. And each boot representing one life, it's in a physical space, you know, and it's there so that we do not forget. We do not forget that they were people, they were sons and daughters and husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and my brothers. And not only is it that physical representation right there that you can pick up and hold and see and feel and smell, but it's that memory that's not lost, and it's right there in your community. I mean, it's my friends. I live here in Williamson County, and so it really brings it home. And it's just fantastic, and I love to see it grow.
Great.
Well, thank you. What he's not sharing with you is he was carried out on the back of an individual.
He gave it up. Jay is the hero, not the Kens and the Mindys and the Dianes. He gave it up for all of us. And thank you. And to all those young men and women that did make it home. To your moms and dads and your wives and husbands and daughters, thank you. But Jay's right here in our community. We must never forget our veterans. And so with that, before Jay signs off, if you're a veteran in here in this room, would you stand with Ken and I and Jay and let us all thank each other? Thank you.
You can try to get away if you want.
God bless you.
You comfortable? So, Diane, you have any parting words for the world today? How many days left?
33.
33 days. Okay. Got any
Not that
parting-
I'm counting, but just like all of you, we all know that we live in a very special place. Williamson County, it has been my home forever, and I don't take it lightly that this is a special place. I have been fortunate to work for Williamson County government for 45 years, and I have watched the changes that have taken place, and I have watched the behind the scenes men and women who have set the stage for what we all enjoy today. Leaders are something special here, and I want to remind each of us to embrace where we live, how we got there, and get involved to ensure we stay where we are. And thank you, Rogers, for being a special part of my life.
Thank you. Thanks, sweetie. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to give the stage to Mayor Moore, and they're going to have a little fireside chat.
And I hope you feel the heat from the fire, Rogers.
Remember, you have to run again.
Well, I don't know that I've ever interviewed you, but I think it is a great honor for me to sit here on the stage with you and ask you some questions about your lifetime of leadership and the legacy of service that you've created in this community. Let me just start by saying there are no words that can justify the contributions you've made to this community through your leadership, the mentorship that you've done for us here in this community as people in public service and all across the state. And being part of the Alphabet Soup team, like you are, I've seen what a great influence you have had on so many people. And the fact that you were recognized by your peers across the state as Mayor of the Year reflects greatly on what you've done. But now's the time I get to ask you questions, and I won't make them too hard. I actually gave them to you beforehand. I think I sent them at 3 a.m., so I'm sure you were able to review them. But over the past 30 years, how has the commission changed, and when did you start wanting to be mayor?
Well, my career started as a county commissioner in 1986. Many of you remember Charles Sargent, a dear friend. I was his campaign manager and he was mine. A little later, he entered the fold. And there's always I think all of us, even here today, we want to give back in some capacity. And I had been involved in the homeowners association like so many of us, and that should break you from ever getting into public office, but it didn't. And we were at a time in the children's life where we were deciding what to do about public education. Public education in the mid-'80s really wasn't as strong anywhere close as it was. We didn't have ball fields. We didn't have leisure sports. There were a lot of things about Williamson County and Franklin at that time, Ken, that we could have improved on. And the next mayor will do that same thing, just like Bob Ring and Clint Callicott and Jerry Sharber, Tom Miller, you, John Schroer. If you take it serious and you love your community, you'll find those things out that make the difference. County commissioners, as a general rule, we have 24, one of the larger numbers in the state. But I think all of them get in for the purpose of serving, giving back, or fix a problem, whatever it may be. And oftentimes they get in and think, well, I really can't change that. I went the wrong route. But I think anyone that puts their name on the ballot and really serves and wins and gives back to the community, you're receiving much more than you're giving. So it's changed, but it's not. We've got the same people, different people, but males and females step up, whether it's through Rotary. I see a bunch of my new Rotary folks, or the hospital board. Everyone, there's a spot for everyone in every community. Great to see the award you all got with being named as All-American City, but I'd like to say you got it because you're in an All-American county.
And I believe we do have an all-American county, and your leadership has helped create that all-American county. And I agree with you that it's important that we work together as cities in the county, and we've had that wonderful relationship. But could you kind of describe what your leadership style is? Are you a collaborator? Are you somebody that's a lone wolf? We heard you described as a fox. Or a competitor? What is your leadership style?
Well, that's always a tough question, because I think you're really all the ones you describe. I think you're all three of them at different times. I've had the opportunity over the last 60 days, Andy Marshall has spent a great deal of time coming in, understanding county government, because Puckett's is a lot different from government, or government's a lot different from Puckett's. There are days that I've heard him say he really enjoys getting on his tractor and bush hogging. If you don't own a tractor and you don't bush hog, you don't understand that. I do. I love my garden. I love getting out, keeping my hands in the dirt. So those days you're a loner. You're thinking, you're planning, you're strategizing, you're trying to fix what's broke. Then there are other days that are collaboration, that you need to go to large events. You need to communicate with your city mayors, county mayors, Democrats, Republicans, because at the end of the day, I've always run on the Republican Party ticket. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of my good friends that are Democrats and independents that want solutions to problems. I know you believe that. And then other days, you just kind of got to take the bull by the horns and get it done. Sometimes that's called leadership. Sometimes that's just called, these are the problems, this is how we're going to solve it, looking down the road, and be prepared to get beat up, be prepared to be criticized, but know that you can lay your head down at night and done the best job. Some of the principles I've always lived with, I love the Lord. I love my neighbors. Actually, I'm kind of struggling with this one, but even people that disagree with me, we have to figure a way to work with them. You don't get the awards you've got and your board. There are people on your board I've disagreed with, but there's people on your board now that are sensible people as they've come around, and and they would say the same thing about me and you. What goes around comes around oftentimes, but we have a wonderful, wonderful family of 275,000 people. We'll be 500,000 people in another 20 years. People want to move to this community. For our school, public schools, private schools, nothing wrong with private schools. They want here for our parks and rec, our leisure lifestyle, our walking trails, just this quality of life, the integrity of our community, the safety, Ken, our law enforcement community. And, you know, you could just go on and on and on. And all of us know that, or we would be moving. Instead of moving in, we'd be moving out. And that's the challenge over the next few years.
Well, here's a question that I think that a lot of people would like to know is, what is the most difficult decision that you had in your 24 or 40 years, and how did you reach a conclusion on that?
There's been a lot, several along the way. I won't highlight any one of them, but at the end of the day, the difficult decisions are the ones that you know you have to make to get better. And there's a lot of them along the way. I wish everything, last week I was piddling in the garden, hauling out a bunch of stuff, and kind of tweaked my hip. Well, it was easy to find a solution for that. Call over bony joint and get them to give you a shot and give you some of the happy juice and go back and go to work. But all these young ladies that have always come for the last several years down here with Atmos and Christina, for them it's not that simple. They're trying to figure out, what do they want to do in life? What do they want to be in life? You and I didn't plan on being mayor, I promise you. And it's just things along the way that you have to take a stand on. The most difficult decision I made was when you knew you made a mistake, when you knew you could maybe take that vote back to these new people coming in, when you knew you got more information. You have to live with that decision or correct it as best you can. And sometimes that's very difficult. But it's not been a hard journey. It's been a journey that you can work with the city leaders and the county leaders, our state leaders, our federal leaders. But when you see people like Jay and Mindy put in the many hours they do to make this community better, and Jay particularly, he's a hero. You and I are just kind of driving the bus.
Well, you know, you've had remarkable energy and passion as a county mayor. How in the world do you maintain that whenever there are people that are throwing barbs at you and shooting arrows at you? And, you know, of course, there is a lot of that. You're the best mayor that's ever been, all those type of things. Well, how do you keep that passion and energy?
Well, I don't know how you were raised or how any of the people were raised. As a kid growing up in an ag side of the world, I had a mom and a dad that were the best two parents a boy could have. But let me tell you, Ken, there was no democracy in our house. And by that I mean, when Mama spoke, that was it. She told us one time in the car coming back from church, the sermon was talking about how the man was the head of the house, and of course I was a young boy, and I was kind of gigging my sister and poked some line that said, "Daddy," the preacher said, "you're the boss of the family. You're the head of the house." He didn't say a word. He was smart enough because Mom was sitting in that front seat. And a little bit later, I couldn't let my mouth stay closed. I had to open it up again. I said, "Dad, did you hear? You're the boss of Mama." He didn't say a word. Mama turned and looked at me, and I have never forgot it. "Your daddy is the head of this house, son, but I'm the neck that head sets on." Now, I don't know if that was scriptural, but it's all I needed to understand.
Well, we're kind of nearing the end of the program here, and I've got two last questions, and I'm going to kind of combine them if I can. And so what area do we need to be focusing on moving forward, and what advice do you have for the next mayor of Williamson County?
We've got to find a solution to infrastructure. And let's just lay it out there. Roads, bridges, more ways to get around, not being tied up from going from here to there. We've got to find it. You all are making attempts. We're making attempts. It's just not enough. We've got to find a different way to get this done. Number two, I'm on a campaign. These young ladies that are sitting here, how are they going to afford to come back into Williamson County? How can we get our grandchildren and our children, give them the opportunity to move into one of the greatest communities around? And we've got to find solutions for that. But at the same time, we need to make this community, provide for this community in such a way that businesses are still attracted to come here. I know there's a push about stopping growth. Folks, we don't need to stop growth. We need to figure out ways to get more high-end jobs for our employees. It's critical when you look around this county, the state, and see all the young people that are leaving this. Some of it's because of health care. Stop and think. You're a physician, Ken. You've been very successful in your career. But a woman that's pregnant, that lives in a rural part of our state, shouldn't have to wait, shouldn't have to drive an hour and a half to have a baby. That's just wrong. That's philosophically wrong. And as you get older, you and I really love the country way of life. But it's a long way from way out there in the country back over to a hospital to get a shot from bony joint. So, we've got to figure out these solutions. And I think finally we got to learn how to disagree sensible, and how to, if I disagree with you, and we have disagreed, but we've agreed a lot more, and go on about our business and say we're both fighting for something. Let's find common ground. I love Bredesen and I love Haslam. They're different ends of the spokes of the bicycle, but let me tell you what, those two men have hit it dead on, trying to find out solutions for our community.
Any quick words of advice for the next mayor, whoever that will be?
Are you kidding me?
Well,
I would take your words. You've got a passion in mental health. I've got the passion in mental health, but you've given it the time and the energy. Whether it's Andy, and I'm sure it's going to be Andy, or anyone else coming along, find what's passionate, not just a pet project. You stayed with this mental health. You stayed with things that gave you the awards like you got. And Mindy, I go back in time.
He's going back in time.
Well, I remember when we were trying to have an event like this. What do we call it? And somebody said, let's do breakfast with the mayors. People will come. They want to hear from their elected leaders or from others what's going on. And so you took that challenge, you pushed it, and here we are today. But love the Lord, love your neighbor, and I think that's pretty good success for any mayor coming down the road, or alderman, or county commissioner.
Well, I don't have any more questions for you, and really just more of an announcement at this point.
Right.
That Mindy and I would like to announce. Privately, there are a few people that already know this.
Right. You love surprises. We know how much you love surprises. Love it. But we were, Franklin Amaro and the mayor, we were trying to figure out a way to honor you, and there wasn't a really good place for a statue. So we came up with another idea, and I'd like to ask our friends from Columbia State to come join us on stage. We have Bethany Lay and Dr. Shane Hall joining us from Columbia State. So what's the most number one tool in Williamson County's arsenal, education, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've talked about the youth of our community and how important they are.
Yes, ma'am.
So together, working with members of the community and with Columbia State Foundation, we have established a scholarship in your name, Mayor Rogers Anderson Scholarship. And this is Rogers. It will honor Rogers' legacy of service with an endowed scholarship. It is endowed at this point. We have raised $25,000 for this scholarship. And it will benefit future generations of Williamson County students. That's all we've said at this point. It's up to you to set the parameters and how you want this administered, whether it went to a veteran, whether it can go to another member of our community, and it's still time for the general public to contribute to this. But Bethany, why will this be important?
Well,
it's on.
Am I on? Okay. So, Rogers, you can tell that the people here in this room and in the community, Franklin tomorrow, understand some of the things that you are passionate about. And they've done this to show their love and respect for you and to help continue in perpetuity supporting students and helping them with their future plans and growth. So it's going to make a difference in every student's life, and you'll continue your work through those efforts. And so we are just delighted to partner with Franklin tomorrow on this endowed scholarship and to honor you and to thank you for the long history that you have had in bringing higher education to Williamson County through this community college. And we look forward to growing with the community and continuing to work with our leaders. And so there's been a lot of water that's gone under the bridge, right, in these efforts, and you'll just continue to impact young people's lives. So thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you to Columbia State and to Mindy and all of you that had. I'm shocked. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, good.
She did it.
Yeah, we did it.
You would make my mother, God rest her soul, very proud, because I'm sure there were times when I was growing up, she was wondering if I was going to get through the 8th grade. To the people that have contributed, thank you. It means a great deal. Our community college, many of you remember Columbia State over next to Franklin High School, wasn't really the most desirable place in the world to go to community schools. And through the efforts of the legislators, Charles Sargent, so many others, Ken's been a big contributor of that. Columbia State is a premier place for us to go and for our children and for future generations. And you think of the skill set that you all are training our nurses and so many others. It's what our community is about. Wherever the lady is that flew in from Oklahoma to give you the award, you want to know why they give awards out like that to communities like us? There you are. It was because we got a community like this. There's nothing like it across this state. There's a lot that brag about it, but these people do it, and this community does it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's thank Rogers one more time. Thank him for his service. Thank you. Let's get together. Get a photo. Come out front. So, any parting words, or have you delivered those yet? Or you got 33 days left too, or a little more?
I've got a few days to go before I finish. And a lot of things to get done. So thank you for coming out. Thanks for spending time this morning. You're my family, my extended family. Thank you very much. Thanks for the years.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.